Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you try, peace is always just out of reach? Like you're constantly chasing calm, but life keeps pulling you in a dozen different directions? In a world that seems to grow louder, busier, and more unpredictable with every passing day, finding even a moment of true inner stillness feels like a rare treasure. What would it mean for you to finally feel calm on the inside, even when everything around you refuses to slow down? In today's fast-paced world, where endless notifications, constant demands, and unexpected changes swirl around us like a storm, inner peace isn't something many people experience often. Most of us live with a constant undercurrent of anxiety. Always rushing, always trying to catch up. But here's something beautiful. The wisdom of Buddhism reminds us that peace isn't something we need to chase. It doesn't come from the outside world, from having the perfect life, or from avoiding challenges. No, it grows quietly, steadily, and patiently from within. True inner calm isn't about escaping problems or pretending chaos doesn't exist. It's about standing firm like a mountain while the winds howl and the storms rage. It's about building a mind so steady, so deeply rooted, that no matter what life throws your way, you remain balanced. Imagine a candle flickering in a quiet room, no matter how dark it is outside. That small light continues to glow. Buddhist wisdom, passed down through countless generations, teaches us how to become that light, how to remain steady even in life's most difficult seasons. And the best part? These lessons aren't complicated or out of reach. You don't have to become a monk or retreat to a mountain to experience them. They're simple, clear, and incredibly powerful if we're willing to pause, reflect, and slowly weave them into our daily lives. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 10 timeless teachings from Buddhism, lessons that can help you stay grounded, centered, and peaceful as you navigate life's ups and downs. These principles are gentle companions you can return to whenever life feels too heavy. Together, let's begin this inward journey, step by step, breath by breath, toward a peace that doesn't depend on circumstances. A peace that lives quietly inside you and remains, no matter what storms come your way. Lesson 1. Respond with care, not impulse. Life has a way of testing us. Often when we least expect it. People may annoy you, disappoint you, or push your buttons. Difficult situations will appear without warning. And powerful emotions, anger, frustration, fear, can rise up like a sudden wave and threaten to take over. But here's where real strength is born, in the tiny space between what happens and how you respond. In that small, sacred pause lies your power. The Buddha taught, learn to stay calm when people praise or blame you. When someone criticizes you, provokes you, or treats you unfairly, don't react immediately. Instead, pause, take a deep, steadying breath. Feel the emotion as it rises within you. Notice how it swells, peaks, and then begins to fade. That quiet pause is where your wisdom lives. It gives you the freedom to choose peace over anger, calm over impulse, and thoughtfulness over recklessness. You don't need to give your precious energy to every problem or person that crosses your path. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you grow stronger inside. It's like laying one brick at a time to build an unshakable foundation of inner peace and resilience. Lesson 2. Nothing stays the same forever. Take a moment right now to look around at your life. Notice how everything is constantly changing. Friendships shift, jobs come and go, joyful moments arrive, and then they pass. Hard times feel endless for a while, but they too eventually fade. Even our own bodies remind us of impermanence. Some days we feel strong and energized. Other days we're weary and worn. When we're in pain, it often feels like it will never end. But if we take a step back and really observe, we begin to notice something powerful. Emotions, like waves in the ocean, rise, linger for a while, and then inevitably fade. The same goes for happiness, excitement, anxiety, and sorrow. Everything moves, everything changes. Take Daniel's story, for example. When he unexpectedly lost his job, he felt like his world was crumbling. Every day felt heavier than the last, and a deep sadness hung over him like a thick fog. He believed that pain would never leave. But time, as it always does, began to shift things. Daniel reconnected with his family, explored new hobbies, and started to see opportunities he hadn't noticed before. Slowly, a different, calmer path opened up before him. One day, Daniel realized that the grief that had weighed so heavily on him had loosened its grip. It hadn't lasted forever. Nothing does. The Buddha's teaching about impermanence reminds us of this gentle truth: everything changes. And when we truly understand this, we loosen our desperate grip on the things we love and soften our fear of the things we don't. We begin to ride the waves of life rather than fight them. Change doesn't have to terrify us. In fact, it can become one of our greatest teachers, showing us how to live more fully, appreciate the beauty of what's here now, and trust that even the darkest night will eventually give way to dawn. And just like Daniel discovered, that deep, heavy sadness eventually passed. The fear he once believed would stay forever also faded away. No emotion, no matter how strong, lasts forever. Everything we feel rises, lingers for a while, and then gently falls away. Like waves on the surface of a quiet lake. The Buddha taught us a powerful truth: everything in life is temporary. When we truly embrace this, we loosen our grip on the things we enjoy and stop fearing the things we don't. We begin to flow with the currents of life, rather than struggle against them. In doing so, we become softer, more open, more accepting of life's constant motion. And within that gentle acceptance, a quiet, lasting peace starts to take root. Change no longer has to frighten us. Instead, it can become one of our greatest teachers, showing us how to cherish what's good while it's here, and to hold on to hope when times grow difficult. Because everything passes, and within that truth lies a calm so steady, it anchors us through every season of life. Lesson 3: The Root of Suffering. Have you ever noticed where most of your inner struggles begin? More often than not, it starts when we cling tightly to the idea that things should be different. We convince ourselves, "I'll be happy when I have more money, when I find love, when I'm in control," and so we stretch ourselves thin, chasing after something just out of reach. We keep running toward better results, more approval, a different situation, and when reality doesn't match our expectations, disappointment rushes in, frustration brews, emptiness quietly takes hold. Consider the story of John. He was a hard-working, dedicated employee who had recently set his hopes on a promotion. He imagined how good it would feel, the recognition, the raise, the sense of success. But when someone else was chosen for the position, John was devastated. For days, he couldn't focus, drowning in frustration. His mind kept repeating, "That should have been mine." Yet after a while, John took a quiet step back to reflect. He realized how much inner peace he had sacrificed by holding so tightly to that one outcome. When he slowly began releasing his grip on that desire for control, he noticed something remarkable. His mind felt lighter. He could appreciate his work again. His heart softened. What would happen if we, too, loosened our grip a little? What if we stopped demanding that life unfold exactly as we wish? Could it be that, in doing so, we might uncover something unexpected? Peace. When we stop constantly chasing after more, our restless minds begin to settle. That exhausting feeling of never enough gently fades. True freedom, as the Buddha taught, isn't about getting everything you want. It's about finding ease within yourself, even when you don't, and when you no longer need life to bend to your will. A new kind of space opens up, one where contentment quietly grows. Lesson 4. Practice mindfulness. Real peace doesn't live in memories of the past or fantasies of the future. It can only be found in one place, this very moment. Yet so many of us spend our days lost in thought, trapped in regret over what's already happened or anxious about what might come next. Our minds leap from worry to worry like restless birds in a storm, rarely pausing to land and rest. Mindfulness is the gentle art of bringing your attention back to the here and now. It's about noticing the little things, the breath moving in and out, the steady touch of your feet against the ground, the warmth of sunlight brushing against your skin, the distant call of a bird. These small, often overlooked details hold the doorway to peace. Let's return to John's story for a moment. After a long, exhausting day at work, his mind raced with worry about a mistake he made in a meeting. Along with anxiety about a looming deadline, he felt tense, scattered, and weighed down. But rather than let his mind spiral further, John made a simple choice. He paused, took a slow, deep breath, walked outside and listened to the gentle rustling of the trees. For those few quiet minutes, his noisy thoughts softened. He felt himself come back to center. Not because his problems had disappeared, but because he had returned to the present moment. That is the quiet power of mindfulness. It won't erase life's challenges, but it will give you the space to breathe through them. It offers you a chance to step back, observe your thoughts and emotions, and realize you are not your worries. Each time you can do this, a soft calmness will begin to take hold inside you. Mindfulness isn't a skill you master in a single day. It's a practice, a gentle, daily return to now, and with each return, peace will be waiting patiently to meet you. Lesson 5. Practice non-attachment. Holding on too tightly, whether to people, possessions, or outcomes, is often where suffering begins. Continuing from our last lesson, we've seen how clinging too tightly to people, possessions, or expectations only brings us pain. Now, let's look deeper into how letting go creates space for peace to enter. It's a bit like gripping a rope with all your strength. The harder you hold on, the deeper the rope digs into your skin, and the more it hurts. You might think your grip is protecting you, but in reality, it's the very thing causing your suffering. So often, we confuse deep love or genuine commitment with attachment. But the truth is, they are not the same. True love doesn't demand control. It doesn't need to possess or dictate how things must be. Real freedom is found when we can care deeply, love fully, and still allow life, and the people we love, to be as they are. Picture yourself holding a delicate butterfly in your palm. If you squeeze it too tightly, you harm it, but if you open your hand, holding it gently, it might choose to stay. That's the heart of non-attachment. It's about loving without fear and letting go without resentment. David, for example, had to learn this lesson the hard way. He was in a long-term relationship, one that meant the world to him. But when it ended, his heart shattered. He spent countless nights replaying every conversation, every decision, trying to pinpoint what went wrong. He clung to the past, wishing things could go back to the way they were. For weeks, David found himself stuck, unable to move forward. But slowly, over time, something shifted. He began to understand that his pain didn't come solely from the loss, but from the way he was holding onto it so tightly. It wasn't about forgetting the person or pretending he no longer cared. Instead, it was about learning to let go, kindly, gently, and with compassion for himself. When David shifted his focus toward his own healing and well-being, peace quietly returned to his life. Not because he stopped loving, but because he stopped clinging. Non-attachment doesn't mean we stop feeling. It means we stop gripping so hard that we lose ourselves when things inevitably change or people drift away. It teaches us how to love without suffocating, how to care without controlling, and how to remain centered in the midst of life's constant movement. It's not about becoming cold or distant. It's about releasing the fear that keeps our hearts clenched so tightly. This gentle act of letting go lightens the load we carry. It makes room for peace to settle in, softly, steadily, and when we finally stop holding on out of fear, we discover a sense of calm that stays with us, no matter how life shifts around us. Lesson 6. Embrace silence. In a world that seems to grow louder every day, with endless notifications, constant conversations, and to-do lists that never end, silence is often seen as rare, even uncomfortable. But in truth, when the noise around us never stops, silence becomes more precious than ever. In those quiet spaces, we finally hear something we tend to ignore, the voice of our own heart. Stepping away from the noise doesn't mean we're avoiding life. It means we're creating space to reconnect with who we truly are. The Buddha and his disciples often sought out quiet places, not to escape, but to strengthen their inner world. The beauty of this practice is that you don't need a remote forest or a mountaintop. Even a few minutes of stillness in your day can work wonders. Take Samuel's story. He was going through an overwhelming time at work. Meetings, emails, notifications. It felt like every second of his day was consumed by noise. He felt disconnected, exhausted, and on edge. One morning, instead of diving into his usual routine, he made a different choice. He stepped out onto his balcony, leaving his phone behind. No music, no distractions, just the soft sound of birdsong and his own steady breath. At first, it felt strange. The quiet made him uneasy. But soon, something softened inside him. He began to feel calm, more present. That small, simple ritual of daily silence became his anchor, a way to reset, to remember what truly mattered. Silence isn't empty, it's full of peace, awareness, and truth. It offers your mind a place to rest, and your heart a chance to open. In those rare moments of stillness, we often hear the answers we've been too busy to notice. So give yourself permission to pause. Turn off the noise whenever you can. Sit with your breath, your thoughts, your presence. In those quiet, gentle moments, you might finally stumble upon the calm you've been chasing all along. Lesson 7. Let go of your ego to find peace. Within each of us, there's a small but persistent voice, the ego. It's that inner narrator always eager to win, to be right, to stay in control. It whispers things like, "I need to be better than them," or "Everyone must recognize how important I am." But here's the truth, chasing this fragile image of ourselves only leads to tension, conflict, and exhaustion. The more we fight to protect our pride, the heavier life feels. The more we insist on being right, the more disconnected we become from others, and from our own peace. But when we choose to release this constant need to prove ourselves, something beautiful begins to happen. Picking up from where we left off, we've seen how setting aside the ego creates space for peace, ease, and deeper connection. When we stop fighting to be seen, to be right, to win every small battle, we realize something beautiful: we already are enough. We feel lighter, calmer, and more in touch with who we truly are. We begin to notice that we are far more than our job titles, our opinions, or the way others see us. We don't have to exhaust ourselves chasing approval or fighting to prove our worth. Because in the quiet truth of our being, we already are. Take Olivia's story as a gentle reminder. In her family, even the simplest conversations could turn into heated debates, whether it was about how to season a dish or where to spend the holidays. Olivia often felt the need to be right. Every disagreement left her frustrated, tense, and distant from the people she loved most. Then one day, Olivia decided to try something different. She chose to let others speak without jumping in to interrupt or correct them. She smiled, she listened, and then, she let go. What happened next surprised her. The conversations flowed more easily. The room felt warmer. Olivia herself felt calmer, as if a heavy weight had quietly slipped from her shoulders. This is what happens when we invite the ego to step aside. In that quiet space, understanding naturally arises. We no longer feel compelled to win every argument or force our perspective on others. And within that openness, peace gently begins to grow. Letting go of ego doesn't take anything away from you. In fact, it gives you back something far more precious: your balance, your ease, and your steady heart. Lesson 8. Learn to accept what's beyond your control. So much of our suffering begins in one place, trying to wrestle life into shapes it refuses to take. We want people to behave a certain way. We want events to unfold according to our hopes and plans. And when they don't, because they often won't, we push back. We get angry, anxious, or quietly discouraged. But life, in its unpredictable wisdom, doesn't always follow the script we've written for it. No matter how carefully we plan, we cannot control the choices of others, the shifting tides of the world, or the unexpected turns our lives might take. What we can control, though, is how we respond, our attitude, our actions, our thoughts. This is where our power lives. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up or ignoring what matters. It means we stop wasting our precious energy fighting against what cannot be changed. Rather than stiffening like a dry branch in a storm, snapping under the pressure, We learn to move like the supple tree that bends with the wind, yet stays firmly rooted. Mia's story beautifully illustrates this. One day, without warning, her company announced sudden layoffs. Though she was not let go, two of her closest friends at work lost their jobs. Mia's mind instantly filled with worry. Who's next? Will I be okay? What should I do? For days, she felt tense and scattered, unable to focus. But eventually, Mia came to a quiet understanding. No amount of sleepless nights or anxious thoughts would change what had happened. What she could control was how she responded from this point forward. So, she chose to focus on what was within reach. She offered kindness and support to her friends. She showed up fully for the work that remained. She took care of her own heart and mind. Letting go of her panic didn't mean she liked what had happened. It simply meant she stopped fighting against it. And in doing so, she noticed something unexpected, a quiet calm, waiting patiently beneath the noise. Because when we stop struggling with what we cannot control, peace gently steps forward to meet us. Acceptance isn't weakness. It's a quiet, steady kind of strength, one that holds us upright when the winds of life blow strongest. It frees us to use our energy where it matters most, how we choose to live, how we offer love, and how we grow through every season life brings. Lesson 9. Choose kindness instead of judgment. Whenever we fall into the habit of judging others, something troubling happens inside us. Our minds grow restless, noisy, unsettled. We begin to compare, to blame, to separate ourselves from those around us. And even if those judgments remain unspoken, they quietly build walls within our hearts. At first, judgment may feel like a way to gain clarity or control, to sort the world neatly into categories of right and wrong. But in truth, it only feeds our discomfort and tightens the knot within. Compassion, however, works in the opposite way. It softens the sharp edges of our thoughts and invites a gentle peace into our hearts. It reminds us that behind every harsh word, every cold action, there's usually a hidden story of pain, fear, or confusion. And while seeing this truth doesn't mean we excuse bad behavior, it does mean we stop carrying the heavy burden of anger ourselves. Emma experienced this one ordinary afternoon at her neighborhood grocery store. The cashier on duty barely made eye contact. Speaking in a clipped, cold tone, Emma's first instinct was to feel insulted, to snap back or respond with equal sharpness. But then, she paused. She took a breath and gently reminded herself, maybe this person is carrying something heavy I cannot see. Continuing from our last reflection, we saw how compassion softens the sharp edges of our emotions and invites peace into both our hearts and the hearts of others. Now, let's move into one final, beautiful practice that can quietly transform the way we live: gratitude. When Emma chose kindness over irritation at the grocery store, offering a gentle smile and a sincere "thank you," something unexpected happened. The cashier, who had seemed cold and distant, softened for a moment, and as Emma walked away, she noticed something else. She felt lighter, freer, not weighed down by frustration or resentment, but uplifted by the simple power of compassion. That's the quiet strength of kindness. It turns your energy inward, where it can heal you, rather than letting it spill outward in the form of anger or blame. Compassion creates peace not only for the other person but for you as well. And the more we truly understand others, their struggles, their fears, They're unseen burdens, the less we need to fight them. Every time you choose patience instead of reaction, empathy over blame, you slowly build a calmer, gentler world inside yourself. And remember, compassion isn't a weakness, it's a silent strength that guards your peace while keeping your heart tender and open to life. Lesson 10. Find peace through practicing gratitude. Gratitude is a gentle yet powerful practice, like a soft rain falling on the parched ground of our restless, overthinking minds. It seeps quietly into our hearts, soothing the inner voices that whisper, "I need more," or "I'm not there yet." When we focus only on what's missing, we remain unsettled, always chasing after the next thing. But the moment we pause and notice what's already here, we begin to slow down, to feel steady again. Gratitude shifts the way we see the world. It doesn't ask us to ignore our pain or pretend everything is perfect. Rather, it gently invites us to notice small, meaningful reasons to smile, even in the middle of our challenges. A warm cup of coffee, the sound of rain tapping softly against the window, a kind message from a friend. These tiny moments carry a quiet magic when we choose to notice them. Take Leo's story. His life was busy, overwhelmed by long hours at work, endless tasks, and little time for himself. He often felt drained, weighed down by stress, his mind constantly racing toward what still needed to be done. One day, a friend gently suggested that Leo begin writing down one thing he was grateful for each morning. At first, Leo doubted it would help, it seemed too simple. But he decided to try. He started small, a hot cup of tea, the sunrise peeking over the rooftops, a colleague's supportive message. Gradually, these tiny acknowledgements of goodness began to shift something inside him. His days, though still demanding, felt a little lighter, his mind a little clearer, his heart a little calmer. Gratitude doesn't erase life's difficulties, but it changes how we carry them. It reminds us that even on the hardest days, there's always something steady beneath the noise. A thankful heart whispers, "This moment is enough. I am enough." And from that quiet place, peace begins to grow, not from the outside, but deep from within. When you live by these timeless ideas, you become like a still, deep lake, calm on the surface, steady and unwavering beneath. Life will continue to change. Storms will come and go. But your inner peace, like a mountain rising high above the restless clouds, will remain grounded and strong. And if these words brought even a small moment of calm or clarity into your heart today, I warmly invite you to subscribe and continue this journey with me here on Daily Dharma Wisdom. There is still so much more to explore together. Each lesson, each story, each quiet reflection brings us closer to a steadier, kinder way of living. Remember, real strength doesn't come from avoiding life's challenges. It comes from meeting them with calm, with clarity, and with compassion. Together, one breath, one step, one mindful moment at a time, we can keep growing that peace within. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, take care of your heart. Stay present, and always remember, the calm you've been searching for is already within you, waiting, steady, and forever ready to guide you home.